guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay. I am a full-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari.
I am Tyler, part-time seller on eBay, Mercari, Poshmark.
And today's video is kind of a tea video.
A little bit. It's kind of drama. You know, a little bit.
You know, okay, yes. So, what we're going to be talking about today is the Wired article that came out. If you guys are part of any of the reseller communities, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, you have seen this article. The name of the article is Get Rich Selling Used Fashion Online or Cry Trying. And yeah, the reseller community had a lot of thoughts, and so we wanted to kind of give our thoughts. And disclaimer, keeping it a little bit real here, so not everything I think is going to be something you'll agree with, but I hope that you'll stick with us to the end to listen to everything we have to say. And we kind of disagree on a few things too, so it should be interesting. Good conversation.
We normally disagree on most things.
So it should be a good conversation. And please do let us know your thoughts down below. If you haven't read the article, I will link it on begrudgingly, but I think it's only fair that you get to see the whole conversation. So anyway, if you like reseller content, if you like hearing what's going on in the community, seeing hauls, all of that type of stuff, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you're notified every time I post new videos. I post new videos every Sunday and Wednesday. And yeah, so I guess that's all there is to it.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. So, the article.
Yeah.
So we came across it in different ways.
Well, you say that, but I came across it because you made me come across it.
Yes, it's true. Also, it's kind of adorable that you have my glitter on you. I just want you to know. So,
great.
'Tis the season. Anyway, so yeah. So I showed you the article. I came across the article through a Facebook group, actually. I don't want to mispronounce her name, so I'm going to try to post it here for you. But this person was actually interviewed in the article, and they posted on the Poshmark Analytics Facebook group, basically stating that their stuff was misrepresented, and they were really unhappy with the article, and they felt that it was hurting their business. And so I was really curious. And then after that, I kept seeing it pop up in people's stories. They were all giving their thoughts. Everyone had very, very different thoughts. It was all across the board. And so I needed to read it and know how I felt. So my first impression was negative, but I think I may have been biased. So what?
Oh, it was definitely a bit of a hatchet piece.
Okay.
It was kind of there is no hope. Everything sucks.
It was a 2020 piece, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a just give up because life isn't worth living kind of article.
Yes. So.
And if you don't agree with me, then you're dumb.
Basically, yeah, that was basically what it was. So they interviewed a few sellers, and basically what they were doing was trying to, I guess, prove that being a full-time seller on Poshmark was impossible, and that basically Poshmark fed a dream that was unattainable. Is basically what they were doing.
I think that's a fair representation of the article.
Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit through the topics. It's a very long article, so I might not cover everything, but one of the main things that they kind of go into in this article is flaws with Poshmark. The biggest flaw I think that they point out is the sharing.
It's the time suck that is sharing. Poshmark, please, for the love of God, fix that. It's just intolerable.
Yeah. So we have, I think it was in the tea video that we did before, but I'm not sure. But we did discuss sharing before, and we discussed our thoughts on sharing. For one, I personally use a VA for sharing. I've tried a few different ones, and if you guys are ever interested in my experiences with different ones, please let me know down below. I've hesitated to do that because I don't want to give out names of anything I feel negative about, but I would do it for you guys so you can avoid the same thing. But we use a VA for that, and my reasoning for that is when you start to scale a business, you do have to outsource certain things, and I think that's something that I felt was the best to outsource. But I do think that sharing is a problem with Poshmark, but I'm conflicted.
I mean, it is. They have to find a way to make it more efficient rather than having to individually click each stupid button.
Yeah, I mean, I think Poshmark is kind of struggling with a varied seller base. So I did look up online. The e-commerce seller stats state that 22% of Posh sellers are full-time. So that means that
1 in 5.
Yeah, so that means that the majority are not full-time sellers. Also, only 25% consider themselves business owners. So that means 75% are just casual people.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but at the same time, streamlining is streamlining. If you make it easier for people to get their stuff out there, I would have to imagine that the numbers are going to bear out across the board, regardless of the category. It's just going to be more sales because it's easier.
Right, and that could be true. I mean, I do think one thing that Poshmark might struggle with is that they're trying to get an even playing field for all sellers. So the idea of sharing was supposed to be that the algorithm isn't going to favor who has the best items, who sells the most, any of that kind of stuff. The algorithm isn't choosing. You're making that decision on whether or not your item is going to be at the top based on whether or not you click that button. So is there a better way? Hopefully, and I hope they figure it out, but I'm not going to damn a platform for trying to cater to their customer base.
Well, I think it's also just an identity disconnect there for Poshmark because they're a social media selling platform. It's like Facebook Marketplace before Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Essentially, it's driving that interaction when all you need to do is interact to sell things, and being responsive and being on top of responding to people's questions and things is more important than just clicking the button.
Right. So are there flaws with Poshmark, and is it possible to run a full-time business on Poshmark? That's a tough question. Now, some people do run full-time businesses on Poshmark. I mean, look at Nicole State; she absolutely does that. We do not. Our full-time business is scattered across all platforms. And I think if you're trying to run a full-time business, do have to decide what is the best way for you. Now, would I ever stop using Poshmark? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have a full-time business without it. It is an important part of my business, but I couldn't do it just with that. But that's just my experience. And I don't damn a platform for that. I'm grateful for what they offer. They have perks that other platforms don't. For example, the 5-pound shipping label. Shipping on Poshmark is far superior to any other platform.
So great. Although we just really messed up a package not too long ago, and it was 7 pounds.
Yes, but it is still far superior. So there are perks and drawbacks to every platform. So they're still working it out, and I will cater my business to that and know that, and it's my job to know that for my business. So that's how I feel about that. Addressing transparency. So one of the claims that the article made is that people that are giving you that you can do this full time are giving you inflated numbers, or they're giving you their numbers without giving you the actual profit, and they're making it seem like you can earn way more than you actually can.
Right. So if you're posting, I made $10,000 on Poshmark, I guess my first question, because I'm a cynical person, is okay, how much did you spend to get to that? If you spent $5,000, that's a good portion of it. Like you didn't make $10,000, you made $5,000.
Right.
And then, did you really make that $5,000? Because is that the gross number? Is that the net number? Is that
right? So we have tried different people's methods, right? And I will continue to keep doing that. And I have found that for me personally, the best method that has worked for me is to buy a certain amount of items, but then to constantly be reevaluating my items, constantly be checking for flaws, redoing photos, checking my description, checking keywords, going on Google Trends, all of that kind of stuff. And that's what drives the most of my sales. So I am not about, scaling to have, if I have 500 items in my closet, I don't want to get to 1,000. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to sell more in a week with what I have. So for me, I don't have to worry about the overinflation like that. And I think you should see on my Instagram, I haven't posted in a while, but you should see that I do my best to post to you what I actually made, not just my net sales. I try to show that. But I think this is you were saying this before. It's a culture thing. It's a social media culture thing.
Instagram, you want to present the best version of yourself to the world. Everyone wants to be appearing that they're better off than they are. I mean, it's the suburban, comparing yards, comparing houses, cars, all of that. You have to one up the next person, and it's led to this whole need to put a facade in front of reality and just hide the truth.
Right. I mean, and there is something to be said for speaking success into existence. So you fake it till you make it. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not against that, but I truly believe in being honest and upfront about where we're at, what we're doing. I mean, we've said before, right now we're in a rut. Right now, I took a step back from my business. I am back on the upswing, but it's been down,
Yeah.
and that is part of business. That's going to happen. And I think sometimes people aren't so good about saying that. But I don't damn people for doing that. I think we all handle our business differently and we run them differently. But that is not a Poshmark problem. That is a social media problem. So I think we need to separate the two there.
I will say one thing that the article did nail is the clothing everywhere in the house. It's got you pegged on that one.
Yes, but if that's a good transition. So it does mention how there's so many hours that you put into this and that your house is a mess. And if you looked over here, you would see a big pile of clothing, and that is the same for every reseller. You're going to see that.
Pile in the office. It's a lot.
Right, and that is the reality of being a reseller, and they are right. But that is also the reality of being a business owner. So I think we do need to talk about the realities of being a business owner. One thing this article harped on is the fact that people joined Poshmark thinking they could earn a full-time income running a 9-to-5 business. I'm sorry.
9-to-5 job.
Yeah, a 9-to-5 job, right. I am sorry to inform you, if you want to run your own business, it will not be a 9-to-5 job. I mean, maybe in 10, 20 years, but it's certainly not going to be a 9-to-5 job right now.
Yeah, have a 9-to-5 or run a business. You can't have both. You cannot have both. At least at the start. It's not possible.
It's a lot of work. I mean, we looked up, Forbes article stated that it takes a regular, this is not a Poshmark, but a regular running your own business, 2 to 3 years before they even earn a profit. Now, I'm not talking earning a minimum wage. I'm not talking earning $100,000 a year. I'm talking a profit. So think about your Poshmark business right now, whether you're full-time, part-time, whatever. Do you make a profit by the end of the year? I'm talking $10, $100, $1,000. Did you make that by the end of the year? If you did, you're ahead of the Forbes article. So I think we need to put that into perspective, because I think sometimes when people join into something like this, they think, well, I'm going to make, what I made doing my 9-to-5, and when they don't, they get disappointed. But
well, it's a lot of, you get what you give. If you spend the time, you're going to reap the benefit. If you are treating it like you just expect passive income, you're going to get passive results.
Right. And I'll also say that as you build, there is a part of that is kind of passive income. So for example, when we first started our downswing, I still actually made a lot of money, even though I was in a downswing of my activity, because I had put in all of that work, but I was still making that money. And it kind of gave me a false sense of security of being like, oh, well, I don't have to actually do anything.
How are you feeling now?
Yeah. And now I regret it. But we don't look at that as, oh, Poshmark stinks or reselling stinks and we're never going to make it. We look at it as, girl, you need to work. Like, you can't just sit on the couch. You have to work. Like, so sometimes you have to put this stuff into perspective. And I think the reality of business owning is maybe not as shown as it should be. And maybe that's something we can do better at too, is kind of showing the realities of what you have to do, what work goes in, how long it takes, because I don't think everyone realizes the amount of time spent. I don't. So there's that.
Last thing is the
influencers. So, okay, so this is something that came out of the article, but was hinted at in the article.
Yeah, they talked about it a little bit, where a lot of people that are doing Poshmark full-time say that they're doing Poshmark full-time, but most of their income comes from other things.
Right. So I have a few different thoughts on this. First of all, in the social media world, if you've ever tried to make money on social media, I don't know how many people have, but I have in different facets. That is true of all of them, right? So a YouTuber doesn't make money strictly from YouTube. They make it from sponsorships. They make it from advertisement, merchandise. They make it from all these things, right? So to be a business owner in this space where it's an online space, a social space, that's to be expected, right? That's going to happen. But then on top of this, do I think that reseller courses or reseller merch or reseller any of that kind of stuff is predatory, as people have been kind of using that term? And that's kind of how I feel. So it depends, right? There are resellers out there that their information is absolutely valuable, and I would never tell you not to purchase from them. But there are also resellers out there that are absolutely selling you something that you might not need, or maybe their information isn't that valuable. And
it all comes with, where's the information coming from for me? Is this person making $10,000 a month, or is this person making $500 a month? And if they're making $500 a month, why am I paying them? Because like, that's been worse than your worst month ever. Why would we listen? No, we're not doing that.
Right. So I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, I think what I would say is know what you're purchasing. Just like in anything. You read the reviews, right? You're not going to buy something on Amazon without reading through the reviews. And if you do, then, I mean, expect to get something from
I'm super excited for what we just bought on Amazon. And it's reseller related. We just bought a industrial turbo sweater shaver.
Yeah, and what did I tell you? What did I tell you to do when you did that?
Read the reviews.
Yeah, so you do that with everything that you do. So read the reviews. Make sure that the person that you are purchasing from is being transparent with you. Make sure that it's something that you feel is valuable to you. Make sure that their content is matching up with the business plan that you have for you.
Right.
If that's all true, I don't see anything wrong with people monetizing the knowledge that they've gained, because I gotta tell you, it takes a lot of time and effort to learn what we know, and especially to be able to know it well enough to tell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So it is valuable, but of course people will take advantage of that. Of course they will. People are money hungry, and they need to.
I mean, the hustle is real for people.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the person doing the mystery boxes because they couldn't get rid of the inventory any other way, and they were all pissed when we sent it back to them just because they basically lied.
Right.
So just, it's always buyer beware. It's on you to figure out what you want to spend your money on.
Exactly.
And if you spend it on something stupid, you learn your lesson.
Right. And I did want to touch on the comparison to MLMs that people are giving. Now, I am in a different boat than the entire world when it comes to MLMs, because I was in an MLM and I don't have negative feelings about them. I know that my husband does. And that's fine. You know.
Go figure.
That's fine. But what I will say is that they did help me with my confidence, and it did help me learn how to build a business. And did I make money in the first year, 2, 3 years? Yes, I made a profit. I made money rather than lost money. So I'm in a different boat than a lot of people. But I will say that I don't think this is the same thing. I think that this is very much, you are running your own thing and you're not dependent on preying on other people. I can make money without even speaking to another person if I want to. I choose not to. I like to teach. I like to collaborate. But I could, and people do. So it's not the same. I think that this article must have been written by either someone who tried and failed at running a Poshmark business, which I would love to see the numbers to know how long people try.
Not hard to try and fail. I tried and failed at my own small business. It happens. Like, that just...
Right.
I realized that 9 to 5 is more my speed, at least for the moment.
And I think that at the end of the day, what this comes down to is running a business is not for everyone. And if it was, more people would do it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small portion of the population that can do this, and that is not to be a negative in any way, but it requires a lot of effort, a lot of motivation, and not everyone can do it. You said yourself, if I wasn't pushing, you wouldn't even be able to do it at all.
No. I mean, if I would be sitting on the couch watching Netflix.
And that's...
I know myself. I'd be playing video games, doing something not productive. That's just who I am as a person.
Right. And that's not a negative against any certain business or app or anything. It's just a personality thing. So at the end of the day, if people fail at this, try to remember it could be the person and not the platform they failed at. So yeah. So I think that's everything I have to say on this.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely was a hatchet job of an article. It was abandon all hope, you enter here, kind of just, this is just going to make you spend all your money on used clothing and you'll never make any sales.
And let's be real, you had that feeling when I started.
I was very concerned as a person that works in finance. I was looking at the numbers going, okay, what is the probability of a warehouse in my basement of clothing that is sitting there? And I was running the numbers in my head and it's like, well, I mean, can't be that bad. So worked out. I'm happy.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a scary thing. It's going to be time, effort, but if you want to do this, don't let an article like this stop you from doing it. It's clearly the person wasn't successful. Clearly is what it came down to. So anyways, if you guys have questions about this article, I know a lot of people are reading it. I know a lot of people that are just starting to get into the Posh world are worried about it. And I know I have a lot of viewers who told me they're just starting out and they're just trying to get, to the point of full-time or even part-time. Please leave me comments down below. We can talk about it because I want to make sure that there's no kind of confusion of what this article said, because it didn't paint any of this in a great light.
Not a good look.
Yeah. So, yes. So leave your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree, disagree, any of that kind of stuff. I'd love to have a conversation. But I hope this was valuable information to you. I hope that our thoughts were helpful to you. And I guess, that's it, right? So, yeah. So we will be back soon with a new video.
An uplifting video. Which would be a nice change of pace for us because we're never uplifting.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be a tip video that was requested of us. So it'll be something different, and I think it should be exciting to show you guys.
Thank you all for watching.
Thank you so much.